Yo, what's going on, everybody? It is Arcanized here, back with another video. With the release of Shazam, there are now 7 movies in the DC Extended Universe, and today I thought it'd be a great time to stop and rank them all from the worst to the best. So, yeah, it should be fun. Let's get into it with my number 7. So coming in at number 7 for me is going to be Suicide Squad. Now, believe it or not, there are actually a few things in this movie that I do like. For instance, the cast. I think they were great and had great chemistry with each other, and it made this movie watchable the first time that I saw it. And I can respect DC for wanting to do something really different, kind of out of the gate in their universe. But overall, it just ended up being this huge mess of a movie that has no idea what it wants to be. It kind of seems like they just took all these different kind of bad ideas and smushed them together. It's just not a great movie at all. The villain is terrible. And I would probably never want to go back and re-watch this film. For those reasons, it comes in at number 7. Now coming in at number 6, guys, is going to be Justice League. Now, this was a movie that could have been so much better, but it just ended up being one of the most mediocre movies that I have ever seen in my life. Everything is just so blah and bad and mediocre, and it just makes you not want to re-watch it. Now, I do think most of the cast was pretty good, but this film did kind of like mess up Ben Affleck's Batman to the point where I didn't even like him. The villain is very bad, the CGI is terrible, and it's just not one that I think of and I'm like, oh yeah, that was a fun film, because it's just the worst kind of bad. Now, coming in at number 5 is going to be Batman v Superman: Dawn of Justice. Now, this is the first film on the list that I don't hate. I think there are a lot of good things in this movie. Wonder Woman is awesome, and I really like how events from the first movie carried over into this movie, but at the same time, they tried to do way too much with this. Jesse Eisenberg is a terrible Lex Luthor, and there's just so much stuff crammed into this one that it's just pretty unenjoyable. And, you know, it's not a bad film. I think it's just kind of fine, but I couldn't put it any higher because there are a lot of issues with it, and it's not great. Now, coming in at number 4 is going to be Man of Steel. Now, this movie, I think, is actually pretty dang solid. Most of the Krypton stuff was very cool. I did feel like it went on a little bit too long, but that's just me. My big issue with this film is that basically the entire last hour is just invincible people punching each other, and it's like, why? And then you have the controversial thing with Superman killing Zod at the end, and all of this kind of goes together to a film that I could rewatch, and I do not hate by any means, but I wouldn't say is a great film that I'm like, oh yes, I love Man of Steel. So it comes in at number 4. Now coming in at number 3 is going to be Aquaman. Now, I do think this is definitely a big step in the right direction for DC, and it is a fun film. Jason Momoa brings a very interesting presence to the DCEU, and I found him good as Aquaman. Now, Orm as the villain isn't particularly great, and there's just some stuff that I feel like some people are kind of neglecting that I don't really love in this film, but I could definitely have a fun time with it, and it comes in at number 3. Enjoyable, but I wouldn't say elite. Coming in at number 2 for me is going to be Wonder Woman. Now, it was super hard to choose between this and my number 1 pick because they are both amazing movies. I love Wonder Woman, and it's actually one of my favorite comic book films of all time. Gal Gadot as Wonder Woman is perfect casting. She does a great job in this movie. It's a very empowering story, and the first two acts are just brilliant. I love Chris Pine in this film, but it does fall apart a little bit in the third act. So even though I love this movie, it's got great action sequences, I just couldn't put it at that number one spot. And coming in at number one is going to be the newest movie in the DCEU, Shazam! I absolutely love basically everything about this movie. It has so much heart. It's so funny. I mean, I laughed so much. Zachary Levi is great as Shazam, and it's just an all-around fantastic movie. You know, it's almost a parody of itself, and I love that. I think it works so well, and the transitions between young Billy Batson and the older Shazam are just great. It's a very heartwarming story, and I love this movie to bits. I can't wait to see it again. I definitely think it's going to have an awesome rewatch factor. And yeah, Shazam comes in at number one. Thank you all so much for watching. I'll see you all next time. Peace out.